Please.
Hello, bosses, and welcome to the 25th episode of Boss Please. Ladies, we've arrived.
We've arrived.
Those are my fireworks, if you couldn't
That's
tell.
amazing.
I love that. We deserve fireworks.
Yes.
We have had some amazing women on our podcast since episode 1. I can't believe we launched around September, and we have just seen
Guys, that's crazy.
so much like growth and positivity and just wonderful people that we've met. So we figured, why not with this 25th episode to take the time to look back and reflect on the things we've learned, some favorite guests we've had, and just, talk about what we've accomplished so far.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big learning from our experiences. And I think that's really important. So what have we learned so far by working together? Because I think there's been some bumps.
Well, I've learned that
we're all real strong.
we're very strong-minded. I've learned that, obviously Malynda and Jill, they're my good friends, but when you kind of come into a business relationship, your relationship with each other has to change a little bit.
Yeah.
And also, too, you kind of have to put your pride aside sometimes because we are each a boss in our own way, but also you need to learn how to be bosses together. And that's what I think I have learned kind of the later half of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, what Jill and I have done recently is sort of changed what do you call it?
Jobs. Yeah, tasks.
And roles in this podcast. And it actually, even though it worked for the better, it's finding the roles that are best suited for everybody.
Yeah.
And that was a really good learning experience.
My job hasn't changed.
No, Malynda's still our audio upload boss, and
she
she's
will forever
overall
be that
wonderful.
because-
Yeah, all those fancy things that you hear all week, and all those wonderful little snippets that Malynda clips and edits together. She is just
Jingle.
Yes, you're amazing.
Everything.
You're
Yep,
amazing.
everything.
I have actually learned a lot more about Malynda. I was not really, I didn't know Malynda before, maybe I knew of Malynda before we started this, but we've got to spend time together, obviously recording the podcast and also not recording the podcast. And I have just learned so much about this wonderful woman, and it's all exciting. We talk every week and we share a certain part of ourselves, and Malynda is closed off, I would say.
Oh, very.
Yeah, it's very hard to read her, and it's very hard to get to know her, but she's really opened up, and I have learned a lot more about your personal life, and I know that you don't share that with many people, so thank you. And then just as far as Meghan, seeing sort of this different side of Meghan and a working relationship, and it's all been it's been wonderful, and obviously we've had, our low moments.
Yeah.
And I love talking about highs and lows. So can we think of maybe a high that we've had so far and a low that we've had so far?
I think any high that we've had is when we have people reach out to us that are like, oh my gosh, I loved this episode.
Yeah.
And anytime, yes, friends reach out to us, but it's really cool when someone reaches out to you that might be more of an acquaintance. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten a couple text messages that are like, I listen to your podcast all the time when I'm at the gym, and it's so inspiring. And then I'll share it with these girls, and that is definitely a high because that's why we're doing this.
For sure. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but even knowing friends that's like, oh, I love this episode. I'm like, you're listening to it?
Yes.
It surprises me because especially friends, we know how our friends can be. You don't exactly, I don't want to say don't support, but everybody's doing something,
Totally,
right?
totally.
So it's really cool when people do say that they listen and they love the podcast. So I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I think a high for me is just meeting all of the wonderful
yes.
guests that we've had on, and, people that have influenced me and sort of decisions that I've made after we've talked to them, and, staying connected to these women and sort of building our network, which I think is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
In LA, it's really hard to make friends, and it's really hard to
Jillian
make
is
connections.
growing right now.
But I am this is amazing. We have, we have gone further with these women than just the podcast.
Yes.
We're still following them, and we're cheering them on, and they're cheering us on, and that's the most exciting thing. Now, as far as a low, I would just say technical issues, just
Always.
Mm-hmm.
we, no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly learning, but girls, there is always an issue.
Always.
always an
Either
issue.
the mic doesn't work, or I pressed publish to go to iTunes and it didn't go through.
One time.
And then I get text at 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning, like, is it going? And I was like, I thought it was. And then it's not up. And then I'm gone the whole day. And so I'm like, it's not going to be up until later this afternoon. There's just always something.
We've done 2 interviews, you guys listening, and Jill and I had the microphone backwards. So we had to redo the episode.
Yes, the microphone.
What's it called? What's ADR?
Yeah, we had to dub our voices.
We had to dub our voices, but you never knew.
Because my editing skills
because
are
Malynda's a boss.
I think it's cool because we've also learned how to troubleshoot things, which is very exciting, and it just is what it is sometimes.
And also just really using our resources. I've had to go through my phone and I realized I knew a lot more powerful females than I realized I did, and it's really cool to. And I love them getting excited that they think they're worthy enough of being interviewed about their life and what they do. That just brings me so much joy.
Mm-hmm. How do we feel like the podcast has changed our life since we've started?
It's a constant motivator for my own personal life, because we talk about it every week on the podcast. It's so easy to get caught up in everything and get down, and then every week you're sitting across from this amazing, badass female. I mean, obviously, aside from you two hanging out with you, but someone that you don't know, and you're looking at them and you're hearing their story and you're vibing with them, and you feel like you're taking on this emotional and personal journey with them, and that inspires me to keep going. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think it's forced me to take more risks in my life. I was in a moment when we started this where I was very comfortable with what I was doing, my relationships, whether it be with family or my significant other. And it pushes me to just work that much harder and to go out more and to be social and to try new things and experience new things. And it's really made me value the time that we have here. Because hearing all these women's stories and seeing how much they've done in their, short lives. I mean, I don't think we've interviewed anybody over probably 45 years old, which is amazing in itself that all these women have lived multiple lives.
Yeah.
So I carry that with me, that I really try to be better and do more things and have fun and not take everything so seriously. Lightening up is a big thing.
That's great. I think for me, I love the diversity that we've had within the guests, but I love that everybody's had a different story, but it's all very similar. And going into the whole metaphysical thing, but we're all kind of the same. And I love being able to appreciate someone's story and, kind of see where I see myself and the parallels there, because I think we focus so much on our differences a lot, but we're all very, very similar people as humans in general. So I think that that's really cool just to see the same wants and needs from people just wanting to matter, wanting to make a difference, whether they're a stay-at-home mom or they're a singer or they're, they have a blog or whatever. We all just want to make an impact in the world, and I think that's really beautiful. So.
Speaking of those wonderful women, I want to kind of showcase some women that have left an impression on us from who we've had on. So as far as a favorite guest or a guest that left you most inspired, who would that be in season 1?
There's a few, but just because she is this spiritual beacon in my life in general, and she's always inspired me. But Daphne, who was on episode 3, I think,
she was right in the beginning.
2 or 3. She was in the beginning, just because her story, her passion, her drive, and she's hilarious. She's just so funny. But I love her spirit. I really, really do, and I think she was one of my favorite guests for sure.
It's literally so hard to pick just one because
difficult.
Everyone has been amazing in their own way. But I think I'm going to mention Stacy from Forever Matchmaking, because I literally vibed and connected with her right off the bat, and I feel like she's an older sister to me. And so I'm still friends with her this day. We're getting drinks in a couple days, and I love how we got connected with her, because it was you reached out on Girls Night Out.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's an entrepreneur. You guys remember the episode, and maybe she'll help me find some love.
I love that. My favorite, and I've listened to this episode so many times, was Lynette Williams.
Yes.
I have been musical in my past life, my current life. I love singing and acting and dancing and performing, and she just kind of brought it out in me and made me feel her passion. And it just, she's done so many phenomenal things, whether it be with her faith or going on tour with Donald Glover, you know, being an only woman on a tour for so long, doing mission trips in between what she's doing. Like, she just really, like, and she takes care of herself, and you know, she just has like this like positive, bubbly, very calm spirit. And I really enjoyed her. And obviously, you know, these are just 3 of the people that we've talked to. Everyone's amazing. So if you have not caught up on season 1, you have some splaining to do first, okay? But also, you're going to have to catch up, because these stories are stories that need to be told.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's why we're doing this.
Yeah. You'll relate. I can't imagine any of the guests
We've
that you've had
related
you can't
to all
relate
of
to.
the- yeah.
You relate to every single one.
Every single one.
Totally.
It's pretty incredible.
And I think we see sort of like the bigger picture for this podcast, but mostly just to keep telling these stories, these important stories of women in every single field. Yeah. And as far as season 2, we have some exciting guests coming up.
For
Season 2 though.
Yeah.
Season 2 though.
We are feeling really empowered and really fortunate.
Yes.
And we cannot wait for you to hear it.
It literally just keeps getting better.
It
and I'm
does.
stoked.
And if you guys have a favorite guest that has been on the podcast, we want to know
Let
who
us
that
know.
guest is, please. Or if you yourself are a female boss and would like to be interviewed on the podcast, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, you can reach us at bosspleasepodcast@gmail.com, and we love hearing any of your thoughts. Continue bossing, continue listening, and spread our word, because that's what we got to do.
We'll see you next season.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.